Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to a brand new video. Today we have something very exciting. Today we're going to get into the divisional playoff matchups for badges for Madden Mobile 18, and we are going to be talking about the different matchups, who you should choose, and statistically what the NFL has said to choose based off the current season. So let's go ahead and get right into it. On the left side of the screen, you are going to see a chart that I made. Basically, I went to NFL.com, ESPN, compiled a bunch of different stats, presented it in this really clean method, and you guys will be able to look at it and be able to explain it, and you will be able to make your decisions based off what you think. Now, the last time we did this, we did okay. We had about 65 to 70% of them correct. Again, it's the NFL. I cannot predict the future. I wish I could, because then we all would get a bunch of free elite players. I realize that a lot of you guys do understand that I can't actually predict stuff, and this is just somewhat helpful for those who want to go off statistics more so than their own opinions, which is probably in the long run the smarter idea. But there were many fans that were triggered that I didn't get them all correct. Here's actually an encounter with a fan on Skype that I had.
Hey, Madden Mobile Slay said that if I was going to pick the certain ones that I was going to get a free 97 overall elite.
Hey buddy, I actually don't know how to predict the NFL, and I was just making my best educated guess.
No, but Slay, I thought I could trust you. You said that what you chose would give me a free elite, but now you're a liar.
Actually, I can't actually predict the future, and I was just making guesses because that's what I do. I can't actually predict the future, buddy.
No, screw you, okay? And your family. I'm gonna find you, I'm gonna unsubscribe 5 times, and I'm going to report you.
But in all seriousness, let's go ahead and get into the divisional round picks. Let's do it, baby. Atlanta versus Philadelphia, Saturday, 4:35 p.m. Rushing yards per game. This is all averages based off their current season. Philadelphia averages more rushing yard per game with 132. When it comes to passing yards per game, Atlanta locks it down with 249 versus 233. Keep in mind that Philadelphia has Nick Foles. Philadelphia does not have Carson Wentz. Now, Philadelphia does have a great set of backs. I believe they have Smallwood, they have Ajayi, they have LeGarrette Blount. Nick Foles really hasn't done that much for the team. He's prone to fumbling. I think Atlanta, for sure, will take the passing yards per game collectible. But I think this will be a game where Philadelphia could initially get behind. They have a strong defense, but they're going to need Nick Foles to pass to win this game. I think Atlanta has already solidified that they have a strong rushing offense with Tevin Coleman and Devonta Freeman. Though the statistics say Philadelphia, with the 132 averaging throughout the year, that's when we're the highest scoring offense. I think Atlanta is going to actually take both categories here. I think Atlanta will have more rushing and more passing against the Philadelphia Eagles. But if you do want to go with stats, Philadelphia does have more rushing yards per game, and Philadelphia's rushing defense is really good. I could see Atlanta maybe scoring 25 or so on this really good Philadelphia defense, and I can't really see Nick Foles getting more than the 17-point average or less that he's had while starting for the Eagles, so I think it's going to be an under for this game. Let's jump over to Tennessee versus New England. Rushing yards per game, New England barely slips by with 4 more yards average per game, but also crushes Tennessee with passing. It's a no-brainer for passing. Tom Brady loves to pass. That's what he's good at. I'm taking passing for New England. When it comes to rushing, this is pretty interesting. New England historically doesn't really have that good of a run defense, but their whole defense in general has gotten better through the last half of the season. Now, you have Derrick Henry, who came off a really big game, but DeMarco Murray is also getting fixed back in. This is going to be a close one, but I think in the end, I'm going to go with the more dominant team. I think I'm going to have to go with New England, even though I really believe in Henry, and I believe Murray, if he came back, they'd be a strong duo. But I think Deion Lewis has been on fire. You have, different backs such as Mike Gillislee, who also can get those yards, and I think they're just gonna pound the Tennessee Titans at their home. I think they slip away with both of them, and I think it's gonna be over. Tennessee's gonna put up a fight. I think at least 15 plus points, maybe even 20 points for Tennessee, and New England is also gonna allow 25 plus points. I think this will be an easy over decision, and I think it will actually be a pretty solid game. Jacksonville versus Pittsburgh. You got Jacksonville with rushing yards per game of 144 and an average for Pittsburgh of 104. Passing yards per game, Pittsburgh beats them by 273. First off, I think Blake Bortles versus Big Ben. Sure, Big Ben threw, 4 or 5 interceptions last time they met, but I do not think Blake Bortles can throw more than 100 yards in this game. He can rush for 80, he can pass for 80 like the last game, but Big Ben is going to win the passing, and I think passing goes to Steelers, no doubt. For rushing yards per game, this is a pretty big deal. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are at home. You have Le'Veon Bell, who you would instantly think, well, Le'Veon Bell is better than Fournette. I think Le'Veon Bell is going to win, but you got to keep in mind, Le'Veon Bell catches the ball a ton, which is considered passing. I think at home, I think Pittsburgh is going to have that upper hand. I do like the Jacksonville front four. I think this is going to be a toss-up, but I honestly think I'm going to go with Le'Veon Bell at home. I think it's going to be it's Pittsburgh's time to shine. I think for a lot of those players on the team, it's kind of their last shot to go get a ring. I think it's going to be really close. I can see Jacksonville pulling off the upset, so if you want to go with them based off the statistics, go ahead. Also, the last time they played, Pittsburgh had more passing, and Jacksonville also had more rushing on them. Again, Jacksonville probably had more rushing because they did get 5 turnovers, so they had the ball more. But I'm also going to take the under for this game because Jacksonville is a great defense. Pittsburgh is going to be explosive, but how explosive can they go against Jalen Ramsey and a lot of those great defenders? I wouldn't be surprised to see something like 17-24 as an outcome for this game. New Orleans versus Minnesota. This is going to be interesting. Rushing yards per game, New Orleans wins barely with 129 per game. Passing yards per game, New Orleans wins with 261. Now, if we go to the last time they played, Minnesota dominated New Orleans, 341 passing yards, but that was not Case Keenum, so we can't really take that into effect. Rushing yards per game, Minnesota also dominated with 129, but that was with Dalvin Cook, and New Orleans had Adrian Peterson situation, so no one knew what they were doing. But if we take a look at the current statistics, rushing yards and passing, New Orleans averages more than Minnesota. When it comes to rushing, you got Jerick McKinnon, who's a great pass-catching back, as well as Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara much better than Jerick McKinnon. I think Kamara also has a higher upside rushing. You got Latavius Murray versus Mark Ingram. I think the New Orleans Saints are going to be able to get a solid run game because Minnesota does have such a stout pass defense. I think it's going to be low rushing for both teams across the board, but I do give New Orleans the edge with the rushing. Minnesota versus New Orleans passing. Case Keenum versus Lattimore. Breeze versus Xavier Rhodes. I'm going to give it to the veteran. It's a playoff game. It's a big game. Case Keenum hasn't been in this position before. Sure, he's been collective. Sure, he's a game manager. But I like Drew Brees. I like his skill set. I like his veteran. I like his experience in playoffs. And I think he's going to be able to pull off more passing yards than Case Keenum. Even though Minnesota defense is very good, probably one of the best, I would say better than New Orleans defense, I still think Brees is going to come clutch in this game. I for sure will be taking the over. New Orleans has averaged around 30 points a game, even more, and Minnesota also has scored a lot of points. Last time they played, they scored 48 points. I think they easily will achieve the over. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the statistics based off of the season for the NFL for these teams. Let me know what you're doing down below. Hopefully we can get something going. Hopefully we can get some more badges. As you know, you will need, I believe, 48 badges and a few elite ones to get the divisional master. A lot of people have like maybe 27 or 30, so keep your ones. Do not get Matt Bryant. First off, why did we get Matt Bryant? Who in their mind was thinking, oh, let's go give it to Matt Bryant? Sure, Matt Bryant was extremely clutching. He's a great kicker, but let me give you 4 names. Drew Brees, Derrick Henry, Marcus Mariota, Michael Thomas. I feel like those were more deserving than Matt Bryant. Plus, Matt Bryant already has a kicker card for the playoff promo. So hopefully EA can make a better decision with the divisional hero. We have some really good teams. We got favorites like Minnesota, Pittsburgh, New England, and Philly playing. So we could see some new players emerge from the darkness. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It'd be such a huge blessing. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out.